This one should be easy. Um, this one's about Boston, which is where I'm from. Well, technically, I was born in Brighton, which is, I think, part of Boston, but then I lived in Newton for most of my life. But there's so much to talk about with Boston. The most important thing about Boston is that the state bird is the chickadee, and it's a lovely bird. And then I guess the next most important thing about Boston is sport teams are good now. They didn't used to be good. They used to be bad, pretty reliably bad. Now they're pretty consistently good, most of them, all of them. So people are quite happy about the sports teams being better than they formerly were. They have good seafood. You can get clam chowder and shit, and like a lobster roll. Can't argue with that. Pilgrims landed near Boston in Plymouth, I think. So there's history. There's like a freedom trail that you theoretically could walk, although nobody ever walks it because it's fucking boring. What are you gonna do? Look at buildings? Think about fucking Ben Franklin. Anyway, um, the thing that's weird, I think the thing that makes Boston really unique is that there's two very distinct populations coexisting and intermingling and fucking and fighting and getting drunk together. Um, and the this is a generalization again, but the two general populations are there's this sort of transient, highly educated population that goes there because some of the best schools in the country are there, like MIT and Harvard. And then there's also just a bunch of very sort of stubborn, sort of towny type people who are just very proud of being from it. It has like a small town mentality, despite the fact that it's like a medium-sized town. Um, but there's like this sort of, again, it's probably related to that it's near where the Pilgrims landed, because if you think about it, it's essentially people who didn't move anywhere when they got here. They just stayed where they were. Um, but there's a lot of really cool, smart people too, but there's also a lot of just gigantic assholes and like really close-minded, really stupid, racist people. Um, and it's funny because politically it's super liberal. Politically, it's probably the most liberal state in terms of like what it votes for policies and shit, but it's basically segregated still. I mean, to a certain degree, it's like the black people live in like Roxbury, Dorchester, and the more sort of well-to-do standard white people and sprinkle in some Asian people live in like downtown and in Cambridge, and the Italians have the North End, and the Jews have Newton and Brookline, and the Dominicans have Jamaica Plain, and the slightly less sort of standard, well-to-do white people, I guess, live in like Quincy or slightly outside of town, Quincy or Dorchester, or, Brighton or Alston or those neighborhoods. Uh, but still, like politically, it's really, really liberal. But there's a lot of alcoholics. There's a lot of drugs. I guess there's drugs everywhere. A lot of people smoke weed. There's really good weed there. It's as good as the weed is most places. Um, People are snobby about weed, which is good because I'm snobby about weed. So it's a good thing so that I can have my nuggets be heady, what the kids say. And really, I don't have anything else on Boston. I'm trying to think, honestly. Um, people much prefer the Red Sox to the Yankees. There's generally a understood dislike of the Yankees. People are pretty emphatic about disliking the Yankees. And there's lots of bars, there's lots of colleges. Music venues there kind of suck. There's good restaurants and stuff. I like the park downtown. It's a nice place to walk around. And that's it. I miss it sometimes.